Okay, and last but not least, we are on to question 12. So question 12 is about radiation. So in 2011, a earthquake caused severe damage to a nuclear power station in Japan. The damage led to the release of large amounts of radioactive iodine-131 into the atmosphere. The table gives some information about iodine-131. Complete the table. So the mass number is 131. We know that because the top number is the mass number, which is protons plus neutrons, and the bottom number is the atomic number, which is just the protons. So mass number is 131, number of protons is 53, we're told that, the number of neutrons. All right, so the number of neutrons, we can figure it out. So our mass number 131 minus 53 will give us our number of neutrons. Let's get our calculator out. Okay, so we've got 131 minus 53 gives us 78 neutrons. And we just check that. We can do its P and E number. All right, let's just check. So P, N, E, because the protons and the neutrons are in the nucleus, they should add up to the mass number. So if we've said 53 protons, 78, we'd have 53 electrons because we've got the positive charge and negative charge. Just do that. 53 plus 78. It's quite confused there. It should add up to 131. Yes, it does. So it must be 78. Complete the sentence. The atomic number of the number of protons in an atom is called the proton number, or we've said it already. It's the atomic number. An atom of iodine-131 decays into xenon by emitting a beta particle. Beta particles, mass of 0, and we've got a proton number will increase by 1. Because remember, during beta decay, one of the neutrons turns into a proton and then a high-speed electron is emitted. So the decay of iodine can be represented by the equation below. Complete the equation. So the beta, we said, mass of 0 and minus 1. So we just do some very simple maths. So 131 is equal to something plus 0. Well, that's 131. And 53 is equal to something plus minus 1. Well, it must be 54, because 54 plus minus 1 is 53. 131 and 54. A sample of rainwater contaminated with iodine-131 gives a count rate of 1,200 counts per second. So that's our starting rate. So start rate. Calculate how many days it will take for the count rate to fall to 75 counts. Half-life is 8 days. Show you working out, working back. So we're going to start with our count rate. So 1, 2. So that's our first one. Our first half-life, we will half it. So half of 1,200 is 600. And we'll half it again, 300. And we'll half it again, 150. And we'll half it again till we get to our 75, which is what we were wanting. How many half-lives was that? It was 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 half-lives. So it says, calculate how many days. And we know that 1 half-life is 8 days. So we do 8 days times by our 4 half-lives. 8 times 4. Get it? The calculator, even if it's easy. 8 times 4 is 32. 32 days. If people drank water contaminated with iodine-131, the iodine-131 builds up in the thyroid gland. This continues until the thyroid is saturated with iodine-131 and cannot absorb any more. So there's a limited amount of iodine you can absorb. The radiation emitted from the iodine-131 could cause cancer of the thyroid. In Japan, people likely to be drinking water contaminated with iodine 131 were advised to take tablets containing non-radioactive isotope of iodine. Suggests why this advice was given. So, if we're told that there's a limit until it becomes saturated, basically, if they saturate themselves with non-radioactive, it will reduce the amount of radioactive iodine that can be absorbed. So let's say something like this. So by taking non-radioactive iodine, the amount of iodine 131 that can be absorbed is reduced, and if they've got less 131, there'll be less radioactive stuff, so the ionization will be less, so there'll be less for the cancer. So the risk of thyroid cancer is reduced. Let's read it. By taking non-radioactive iodine, the amount of iodine 131 that can be absorbed is reduced, because it's going to be full of the thyroid's going to be full of the other type of iodine, so the risk of thyroid cancer is reduced. Okay, happy with that. That will give me my 2 marks. And that is it. That is the full paper. So thank you for bearing with me. I know that was quite a long explanation, but I've tried to go into quite a lot of detail of why I answered each question the way that I did. Hopefully that was useful for you. Make sure that you are adding any thing to your answers that you didn't pick up from mine, and that will be a really, really helpful revision resource of the key areas that we're told is going to be in your exam. And good luck, and I will see you just before you do the paper next week.